It is time. It is Thriving Thursday. And I'm so excited about it. I am so excited about it because we are going to be celebrating ourselves. It's time. It's time. We've done a lot of work this week from Monday's meditation, Talk That Talk Tuesday, Self Awareness Wednesday. Talk That Talk Tuesday, we talked about um, why silence is so essential to our language, our self love language in particular. Self Awareness Wednesday, yesterday we went into how to identify resistance at the edge of our comfort zone, what that looks like, how to combat it. And so it's time to celebrate. We've been doing some work, okay, from inviting balance and stillness into our day to improving our self love language with silence, to understanding our beliefs and behaviors at the edge of our comfort zone, and how to combat that. Um, so it's time to celebrate, sis. It's time to celebrate, sis. So, what we're doing today, if you join me in celebrating yourself this morning, you can celebrate yourself in any way you want. Um, you can win a free 3-month trial of Center Me membership. Woo woo. And so what that includes, what our members benefit from a lot at Center Me. They are able to access exclusive blog content, our resource center, which has access to all of our guides for free, our class session workshop replays. They also benefit from quarterly coaching. We do have a premium membership that is currently offering a free month trial with monthly coaching, one-on-one coaching. They also get access to weekly Keep It Real support. They get to earn points for taking up space. So for every class, coaching session, workshop, self-love bar purchase, um, showing up for themselves in self love via Center Me, they earn points. And these points can have them access rewards such as free guest passes to upcoming retreats and events, to extra coaching with me. So, yeah, our memberships are pretty lit. So, they are going to definitely help you expand in self love, help you to experience greater daily fulfillment, and enhance the overall quality of your life. So, celebrate yourself, sis. But in the meantime, we're going to be talking today about why it is so essential to celebrate your mistakes. And when it comes to our mistakes, a lot of times, especially if you are always being very intentional about the way that you are showing up and how you're showing up, when you're showing up, where you're showing up. So if you are carrying pivotal roles at home, at work, in the community, chances are very likely that you are showing up, for all of the things, right? And so whenever we make mistakes, this can be taken really difficult sometimes. And so we're going to be creating space today to specifically celebrate mistakes. And the reason why is because this is not only going to help you in experiencing greater daily fulfillment, enhancing the quality of your life, expanding in self love, having a more optimistic mindset, being able to be more solution oriented instead of being very hard on yourself. You're going to be even more soft and gentle with yourself, which is just going to have so many benefits to creativity, strategic planning, just overall strategy and the way that you operate. So being able to celebrate yourself, whether it be the mistakes or whether it be the accomplishments, these could be accomplishments too. So I guess, achieving goals and things of that nature. this is why celebrating yourself is just so beneficial, because being able to find those opportunities to celebrate yourself as frequently as possible, whether it be the small wins or the big wins. And those small wins could be um, mistakes turn into lessons, or they could be the big wins too, because sometimes, these mistakes can end up being, opportunities for us to make huge strides in our self-love journey. So, and I'm going to be speaking to a personal story as well today. So, but the first thing that I want you to do upon making a mistake is honor your feelings. Honor your feelings. So one of the mistakes that we make in making mistakes is that we will be so hard on ourselves, and we will, take it as failure, and I know you hear this all the time, especially if you are into self-development and self-help and, really trying to grow personally and professionally. You've heard a million times before not to take mistakes personally, not to be hard on yourself, and they're absolutely correct. They're right. And but oftentimes we are going to do exactly the opposite of what we've been told to do, right? So I'm gonna kind of try to illuminate to you why it is so important, why it's so beneficial that you look at your mistakes and you honor what you're feeling, but not take it really like hard, and not be hard on yourself, right? So honor your feelings in that, okay, yeah, you may be experiencing some disappointment, you may be experiencing some sadness, you may be experiencing some frustration, you may be experiencing some irritation, you may be experiencing some um, surprise even, right? Especially if you a winner, you know what I mean, and you make a mistake, especially, you may be like taken aback a little bit, like, whoa, that was me. So so, honor those feelings, honor exactly what it is that you're feeling, because what you feel, and I'm going to say this a million times, what you feel is absolutely real. It's real, right? It's valid and it's real. So make sure that you are creating space for your feelings and honoring them. And I can tell you that when it comes to regulating your emotions with mastery, a lot of times uh, we I have to further explain what I mean by that, because when we hear mastery or master, we think of control, we think of um, being able to have this authority over. And that's not how being able to regulate your emotions with mastery actually works. So when we are regulating our emotions with mastery, this is more along the lines of just being able to embrace them, right? Because that can be actually hard for some of us. Sometimes we are so caught up in our unhealthy responses to our emotions, like suppressing them, compartmentalizing them, and just just downright ignoring them completely, right? And sometimes it's something that we're doing without even having to think about it. We have literally conditioned ourselves to meet difficult, heavy, or uncomfortable emotions with just, "Ugh, I ain't dealing with that right now." And so it is absolutely sometimes, very much a challenge to be very intentional about embracing what it is that you are experiencing. And I can't stress enough how incredible this is going to be in you growing in emotional wellness and stress relief. Because being able to embrace what it is that you feel, honor that feeling, is literally half the battle, right? And so the way that I like to honor my feelings is by keeping it real. All right. So we've embraced them. We just accepted the fact this is what I'm feeling. And I want you to utilize the Center Me Wheel of Emotions. I'm going to make that accessible on our website. Or you can Google Wheel of Emotions. And um, what this will do is help you to expand your vocabulary, your emotional vocabulary, so that when you are getting into the habit of honoring your emotions and honoring what you feel, you can really start to expand yourself. And because one, you're super vast, you're incredibly vast. And so, and your emotions are too, because they're an extension of who you are. They're a part of your design. And so when we start to be very intentional about expanding and growing in emotional development, being able to expand your vocabulary and describing how you feel and honoring your feelings is very essential in that process. So honor your feelings by exploring them, putting a name on them. Gosh, that's so powerful. Putting a name on what it is that you feel. Whoo, because there's nothing more frustrating than feeling something and you don't know what it is or how to describe it or what to call it. That actually contributes to frustration behind emotions, which actually is one of the reasons why we compartmentalize or suppress them, or however you choose to not embrace them. Right? And so being able to put a name on them is just going to be so incredible for your progress in emotional wellness. So we've honored them. Now it's time to keep it real. Now it's time to process them. Now it's time to reflect, express, accept, and let go. All right, so we made this mistake, right? This mistake made us feel disappointed. It made us feel less than. It made us feel, which less than is not an emotion. I'm just throwing that out there. But but this is why we're exploring our emotions and exploring what we're feeling, so we can use this wheel of emotions to put a name on what it is that we're experiencing, right? So we're experiencing frustration, we're experiencing sadness, we're experiencing disappointment, we're experiencing irritation, we're experiencing surprise, right? All of the feelings we're feeling because we made this mistake. And so we've honored what it is that we're feeling. We explored the different feelings that we're feeling, and now it's time to process them. And so what I created was a method called Keep It Real. And this Keep It Real process helps you to really explore your emotions in a way that is very healthy for you, in a way that helps you to expand in self-love, expand in emotional development, and really just grow and deepening that connection with yourself and the knowing of who you are, right? And so the first step of keeping it real is reflection. And I'm just going to skate through this, right? Because the Keep It Real process is not something that you're gonna sometimes be able to get through in like an hour or a day or a week or a few months. Sometimes this thing really takes time. And just depending on how we respond to ourselves, it's just going to really determine how long this Keep It Real process is. So we've honored our feelings. Now it's time to keep it real. We're going to reflect. During the reflection process, you are looking for the truth, plain and simple. This is an investigation process. This is a self-exploration process. You're going to be asking purpose questions. We talked about this yesterday briefly. And these purpose questions sound more like, what am I feeling? How many feelings am I feeling? How many emotions are present right now? What did it take to stimulate? How much stimulation did it take for these emotions or this emotion to arise? How am I going to be able to show up for myself the next time I experience this emotion? In a healthy way, right? And just asking questions like, how did this make me, what thoughts are surrounding this emotion? What type of behavior am I compelled to do in experiencing these emotions? And I'm just kind of throwing out things off the top of my head when it comes to these purpose questions. But these purpose questions are really going to help you to get closer to the truth. So only you know what kind of thoughts and behaviors are being triggered right now. Only you know really how to get to the root of it, because you know. Trust me, the answers are already there, present in you. The answers are always there. It's the questions. We have to be able to get better at asking ourselves the questions that are going to get us to the right answers. And prevention questions are not going to do that, right? They're not going to do that. Let me just emphasize that the reflection process requires a lot of presence and honesty and openness with yourself. This is how you get the clarity that comes with intentional reflection. This is how you get the strong sense of self that comes with intentional reflection. And so prevention questions like, what are they going to think about me? Oh my gosh, what if I can't do it? Oh my gosh, why did they say that? Or why did they do that to me? Or, these are questions that are just not going to get you closer to your truth. These are not questions that are going to help you in expanding and in growing in self-love. These are not questions that are going to bring clarity to the situation. So this is, again, we talked about this yesterday, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But this is what the reflection process looks like. It's like I said, it's an investigative, self-exploratory process. This is where you're going to really dig deep within yourself to figure out the root of these emotions and why you are experiencing them. The second step in keeping it real is expression. Now, there are two types of expression. There's healthy expression, there's unhealthy expression. You want to be able to express yourself in a way that is healthy so that you're able to get this excess energy out, because that's what our emotions do. They're energy, so we want to be able to do something with that energy so that we're able to maintain this inner balance of energy, and we want to be able to maintain this inner flow. That's a better way for me to describe it. We want to maintain a constant flow of energy, right? So our emotions are not meant to be suppressed and trapped inside of the body. This creates, for lack of better terms, cloggage, lack of flow, which is why when the consequences of suppressing emotions are, can be all the way to from mental to physical health issues. And so being able to express yourself in a healthy way, from journaling, meditating, dancing, talking it out in safe spaces with your coach or therapist, and or both, being able to work out, do some yoga, whatever it is that you are drawn to do whenever in a health, these are healthy examples of healthy expression, to get that emotion. So you've done the investigative process. You've explored yourself. You know exactly why this emotion was stimulated. Now it's time to do some magic. Expression is really magical in that it really helps us to turn what came to us as anger and really transmute it to the way that we love ourselves, and in a reflection of the way that we love ourselves. And so it could be, like I said, by way of journaling, drawing, sketching, dancing, yoga, just talking it out, having this really intentional conversation about just expressing how it is that you feel, why you felt it, and really just acknowledging that to yourself, in a safe space. It's just extremely powerful. And this is what happens when you meet yourself with love. And so that's what healthy expression is. It is meeting yourself, meeting those emotions, those difficult, heavy, or uncomfortable emotions with love, with yourself, right? And so some examples of unhealthy expression are, arguing, yelling, fighting, silent treatments, drug or alcohol abuse, toxic behavior, just anything that kind of falls under that umbrella. Right. And so, and sometimes it's the only reason that we respond, or I'm sorry, the only reason we react, because when we are expressing ourselves in a healthy way, this is a response, because this is something that has been thought about. This is something that is intentional, whereas a reaction is kind of more so from a survival mechanism, right? And so it is going to happen almost instantaneously. So like I said, it's going to be something that's going to fall under the umbrella of just toxic behavior, fighting, arguing, yelling, silent treatments, abuse of alcohol and drugs. And so we want to make sure that we are expressing ourselves in a healthy way. So we make mistakes. Being hard on ourselves can take on so many different roles and the way we express ourselves when we make mistakes. And so being very intentional about this process is just going to help you grow and help you expand in so many ways. The next step in keeping it real is acceptance, right? And I have to say that this may be the most difficult part of the keep it real process. And and I believe that I personally believe that this is a difficult step because acceptance is really hard when we think that when we have an attachment to something, right? So when we have an attachment to an end result or an attachment to how things are supposed to, a process are supposed to be done, or we have an attachment to a person or a thing, I always use this example, our cell phone. If we were to lose it and we have all these things that we're using this phone for, and we were to lose it, some of us would really have a hard time. We would be like in complete distress. But that was something that only was caused because we didn't take the time to realize that, one, everything is temporary. Two, everything is what it is. And three, that we have a responsibility for ourselves. And when we cannot accept these three things, it's going to be very difficult for us to release attachments. And so acceptance is only very difficult because of the attachment that we have to things. And that's why when we bring ourselves to accepting the temporary nature of things, accepting things, people, places exactly for what they are, and accepting ultimately that responsibility, the way that we respond to ourselves, accepting that, not putting it on to anyone else, not expecting anyone else to treat us the way we treat them, not expecting anyone else to carry our emotions for us, but really having that responsibility for ourselves and being able to have that, healthy way of responding to ourselves. That's how we gain access to acceptance. That's how we invite internal peace into our lives. That's how we are able to actually get to the last step, the only way we get to the last step of keeping it real, which is letting go. And letting go is not difficult. If you bring yourself to acceptance, letting go is a natural process in that. And so whenever we are keeping it real from, reflecting, expressing, accepting, letting go is something that's just going to happen very naturally because we've extracted all of the value, right? We've deepened that knowing of who we are. We've expressed ourselves to maintain flow. We've brought ourselves to acceptance. And so because of that, there's absolutely nothing left to do but to let go of the situation, right? So if we make mistakes, it's easy for us to celebrate ourselves when we are able to honor what it is that we're feeling, keep it real. And the very last point that I want to bring up in being able to respond in a healthy way to making mistakes is when you learn that lesson that mistake has brought you, apply it immediately. Apply it in your life immediately in any way that you possibly can. And that's where I was going to share with you all a personal story today. Because once we start applying what it is that we are learning from these mistakes, chances are very, very likely that you're not going to make that mistake again. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there is this part on one of J. Cole's song. I don't know where he got this clip from, but this man, he says, and there's a saying in Texas: if you fool me once, shame on you. If you fool me twice, shame on me. But if you fool me, but you can't fool me again. And so it never gets to the third time. And that's how I feel about mistakes. Like when we make these mistakes, okay, that might have caught us off guard. We might have got tripped up. We might have forgot to honor ourselves, honor our feelings. We might have forgot to keep it real, and really go through that process. But the second time, let's make sure we do that, because now there's a lesson. Now it's very obvious that we're missing out on an opportunity to expand ourselves, the knowing of ourselves. We're missing out on an opportunity to learn a lesson that is going to help us get to the next level in our lives. That's going to help us to be more prepared for the next season, for the next chapter, for the next day in our lives. So very much being able to apply what it is that you've learned in this and from this mistake is what's going to keep you from being able to, from being fooled again, or for missing out again, for making that mistake again. And so make sure that you are applying what it is that you're learning from this mistake, so that you are able to move forward and with the knowing of how to respond to yourself, with the knowing of this was the lesson that I learned. So in order for me to prevent this mistake again, I'm gonna have to apply what it is that I'm learning. And so the personal story that I want to share with you all before we get up off of here is, I remember, and there's so many. I've made so many mistakes in my life. But, I embrace it because these are lessons that I've learned, right? But there was this person in my life that, boy, I mean, talk about get under my skin. And I told you, when I first started my self-love journey, the hardest emotion for me to get that mastery of, and I still work on it to today, is anger, because from childhood all the way up into, early adulthood, I had been suppressing anger like nobody's business. And so it had gotten to a point where I couldn't even suppress it anymore. It was like anything that would just stimulate that thing, I was like a huge flame that I just could not control. And then it wouldn't even be until afterwards that I could even start the keep it real process. Like I could start reflecting and really asking myself those questions, purpose questions. Whereas like, now I'm able to feel that anger stimulated, and then I'm able to yeah. I mean, but it's a work. Be gentle with yourself, because this process, look, we're here. Some of these lessons that we're learning in this life, it takes this life to learn them. You know what I mean? So give yourself grace in that. But so I say all that to say, anger was a a huge deal for me. Real struggle. So this person, is somebody that I have, that was really close to me, very, very close to me, near and dear to my heart. But this was also a person that could really trigger anger in me like nobody's business. And it seemed like every time I would get into a good space, I would allow that good feeling of being in a good space, that peace, that balance to really make me feel like, oh, I can do anything. I can handle anything. And so because I felt like, superwoman, because I'm in this good space, again, it's easy to feel confident when things are going well. All right. And I actually talk about this in the spotlight that I'm doing. I can't mention it right now, but I will once they release it. But it is easy. It is easy to be confident when things are going well, sis. Your self-love practice is going to be more evident when you are experiencing, struggles and hardships and low energetic cycles than when you are experiencing high energetic cycles. And so I would allow myself to be in this person's presence. I would just be like, oh, ain't nothing they can do to make me feel any kind of way. Psh, I'm good. And so I would make the mistake of thinking that even though it's been very evident that me away from this person is good for me because this is what I'm experiencing, I misused that opportunity to go back to what was not good for me because I thought that I had, I was growing and I could do it, right? And so I would go back to this person and they would trigger me and I would experience all of this anger and then I would experience all of this disappointment afterwards because I would think to myself, man, I've grown so much. Why am I still letting this person get to me? I've grown so much. And I had to realize that just because you are growing doesn't mean put yourself in a position to be tested. Allow your test to come naturally to you. Don't force yourself to be in a position that you're not ready to be in. Know yourself that well, right? And so what this process over the years had been teaching me was, okay, yes, you're growing, but this is because you have the space from this person. And so recognize that the reason why you're winning, the reason why you're doing well is because that, because you are, positioning yourself for success. Exactly. Exactly. So, and that's exactly what I'm getting at. When you know that the blessing is in the absence of this, person, place, thing, whatever. We could talk. This could be in apps. This could be talking about habits. This could be talking about people. This could be talking about places. This could be talking about a particular job environment, work environment. It'd be anything. But just understand that just because you're doing well doesn't mean that you can take on what survive what you're used to being around. It means this is where you need to be to continue to thrive. So what I had to do to start applying what it was that I learned was to always keep myself in a space that's going to allow me the opportunity to keep practicing and keep growing and keep expanding in my practice and my self-love practice. And so, to bring this back to mistakes, every time that I would go back, I felt like I was making a huge mistake afterwards when I would get triggered and I would think, oh, I don't have enough control over myself. Oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be trying to, lead emotional wellness and this is something that keeps, coming up. And so instead of being hard on myself, I really had to start being more real with myself and then really opening up to myself like, okay, do you trust yourself to do I trust myself to continue to move forward? Do I trust myself to take everything that I have learned and all of the growth that I have experienced in my life to continue to further my expansion, to position myself for success, to position myself for emotional wellness, to position myself for growth and expansion? And the answer is always yes. The answer is always yes, I do. And so I'm going to get back up. I'm going to honor what it is that I'm feeling. I'm going to keep it real. And I'm going to apply what it is that I learned about me, you know? Did I put myself in this position because I was in a state of fear in some way? Did I put myself in this position because I'm in a state of delusion? Like, these are tough conversations that you have to have with yourself. Self-love isn't always going to be something that makes you feel good. Sometimes self-love is going to make you feel really, sugar, honey, ice, TTY. you know? And so, just make sure that you are, meeting yourself with love in this process. So celebrate yourself, sis. Celebrate those mistakes. Celebrate those opportunities to grow and expand and meet yourself. Meet that future version of yourself in a space of love, emotional wellness, and growth, empowerment, and self-awareness. Meet her there because that's where she is waiting on you. And so all you have to do is celebrate yourself, whether it be the mistakes, whether it be the accomplishments, achieving the goals. Celebrate yourself always, because when you expand, it is a win for her. It is a win for her because you're getting closer to her. And so make sure that you are always, always celebrating yourself in this life. You didn't come here to beat yourself up. That's actually the opposite of what you came here to do. All right, sis. So make sure that you are always in alignment with your highest good, in alignment with abundance, in alignment with your desires, in alignment with what it is that's going to help you to feel free and well. That is your birthright. And so I'm sending you so much love, so much peace, and so much light. Listen, come check us out at centerme.com. We are helping our members lead healthy heart and healthy mind lifestyles. You know, we are showing up for women who carry pivotal roles in home, at work, in their community, and we're allowing them to reward themselves for taking up space. All right. We are helping these women to really grow in their self-love practice and really be able to see themselves in a way that is healthy, that is well, that is free. And I'm always going to be talking about this as well, but heart disease is our number one threat as women. And when we are under this enormous amount of stress and pressure, especially, like I said, in carrying these pivotal roles in our lives, that's what really kind of puts us at the top of the list for heart disease. And so what we're doing at Center Me is helping to, lower those numbers. We want to be a part of the solution, and so women who are busy, 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 we're at greater risk. And so I want to be able to, provide a solution that I had desired in my life when I was, trying to show up doing all of the things. And, I'm single mom, working, have my own business, trying to be in the community, do all of the things, but severely depressed and full of anxiety and not happy. And so the Center Me House pop-up retreats, our Center Me Resource Center, our Center Me classes, sessions. We have a Keep It Real journaling session coming up this Friday. Make sure you get a ticket. It's $10. Just come and check us out. We're going to do some light coaching in the first half. We're going to listen to some music and journal for the next half. It's a vibe. So make sure that you come check us out at Center Me. We are here for you, sis. So have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day on purpose. I will see you tomorrow for Me First Friday at 7 a.m. We're going to talk about how to put yourself first so that you can experience greater daily fulfillment and enhance the quality of your life. Have a wonderful day on purpose. I got to go do some laundry. Bye.